Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Jerome, and thank you so much for stopping by. So today I want to go over the tier list since we just got a new ban list, and I'm pretty sure all of you guys have seen it already. Who hasn't? I'm not going to do like a reaction video to it and stuff like that, but I will give my opinion on the ban list. I think that the ban list was really good, despite what a lot of people are saying. It was more aligned with something that I thought was going to happen, where they weren't going to really outright kill Snake Eyes. I said that before, that they're just not going to kill it. It is their money making child. With the tins coming out, with the reprints of all these other things, Snake Eye related and Deal Bellstar related, and all that good stuff. I knew that they weren't going to kill that deck out. Now a lot of people are going to be able to access that deck, so it's going to sell the tins. So yeah, but the one card that I was extremely excited to see get banned was Lacrima. I know I didn't make a video about it, but I was going to, but I decided not to. About a week before the ban list came out, I was talking to my friends and I said that I think Lacrima is going to get banned. A lot of people disagreed, but turns out it happened, and I was like, thank God. Fiendsmith, in my opinion, needed to be addressed, and I'm glad that it did get addressed this early on. Anyways, so I wanted to do this this tier list for the new format coming up. I did not make this list. I just found it, and I figured, why not? This seems pretty good to use. So thank you to whoever made this lovely list here. So I'm going to go ahead and get the elephant out of the room and go ahead and say that Yubel and the Fire King Snake Eyes, in my opinion, is going to be the best two decks overall. Yubel got a little slap on the wrist, which we called it. I said that the only card that was going to probably hit is going to be the Spirit Gates, and it was. I was hoping to see Yama or Shavara at least get banned to like try to weaken it a bit more. But it is what it is. So yeah, Yubel, full power. It's tier 1 for sure. Probably the best deck in the format. If I had to bet money, I would say that Yubel is probably the best deck in the format. Tied along with that, standing next to it would be the Fire King Snake Eye version. I think that that is the strongest one. Fire King Snake Eye was never a weak version to begin with. It was always very strong. It's just people preferred to play pure over the Fire King. I personally like the Fire King a little bit better just because it dodged Imperm, and just a lot better in my opinion, and just had like more interruptions with the Grunex and the Kyrian. And I think this is the version that a lot of people are going to go to, since it does come with Arvada. And yeah, I mean, Nib is a very strong card now in this format. So Branded, I think Branded is, I would say that Branded is very, very strong. I did not make a tier 1.5. Maybe I should have, because Branded is probably like one of the only decks that would belong there. But I would have to say maybe here, like, yeah, it did lose 2 Branded Fusions, but if you are a good Branded player, you would know that you do not need Branded Fusion at all to still set up the Gimmick Puppet Galot. You play on your end phase with all your, effects triggering and stuff like that. Branded High Spirits is sometimes a little bit better than Branded Fusion. I know it's weird, but like, again, you just set up everything on the end phase, and then during your opponent's draw phase, you just do everything, and then there you go. You puppet locked your opponent. We were hoping for a puppet, or in my opinion, Sanctifier to get banned. It is what it is. Branded Fusion being limited now, it's way too late, but better late than never, right? So Centurion, if it's pure Centurion, because I don't think we have white. Yeah, we do have white woods here. Centurion is by itself, I would say it's rogue. It did lose its Calamity. Thank God that card's gone. So I would say that right now it's just rogue. Chimera Fiendsmith, this deck is really good. Again, I should have probably did 1.5, because this is probably also 1.5, but I'm gonna put it here in tier 2. Very strong. If you have played against this deck, you will know that this deck is nothing to joke around with. It is a very, very tough matchup. It's very hard to read what exactly you should be ashing. I played against this deck a few times against my friend, and every time, like, ash on the Sword Knight feels good, but they always have like an extra card, and it seems like it just never ends. Seems like there's like 5 different cards to ash, and every one of them, doesn't really matter which one you stop. It seems like they can still get to what they need. So a very strong deck. Dragon Link, sitting somewhere around, like, I know it just won at regionals, but honestly, I think that it won that regionals because from what I saw, I think a lot of people just didn't show up playing like the top meta decks. It was a very like roguish kind of setting in a way, from what I've seen and from what I've heard. But Dragon Link, I don't know what I would how I feel about this deck too much. I'm gonna put it in Rogue for now. Maybe it's a tier 2 kind of deck, but I mean, like, Nib is looking pretty good right now. Drytron, definitely Rogue. Ava comes back, does nothing for the deck. Beatrice is gone, so like that whole line doesn't matter. And the new Drytron ritual locks you into just what machine rituals or whatever, so not that good. We go with Flu. Flu did lose Pot of Prosperity, and it's already a bricky kind of deck, so I would say it's tier 2, but I think that we just have like a little bit better options. So yeah, I would say that it's probably top of the rogue category for now. Gimmick Puppet, I'm not sure from what I've heard, that the hits to Gimmick Puppet really didn't matter as much. Like, I think it hurt its ability to go really second, and I think that if it doesn't open up with the field spell, it has like a little bit of a struggle at OTKing. But for now, I want to put it in Rogue. I'm not sure where on Rogue. Maybe it deserves like a higher spot, like maybe here. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure where I would put it, but yeah, Ice Barriers. I want to say stay away from playing it, but then again, it does have its little crazy plays that it can do. But I mean, I like its theme. I like what it can do. But is it something that I would say is like rogue, or would I just like stay away from playing it because it doesn't really go as far? I mean, this cover monster that has pretty broken. I'll say for right now, I'll just stay away from it. It seems like it does some cool stuff. Like, it has like some floodgate monsters to it or whatever, but going second with the deck, I don't think it's that great. Going first, it does some cool stuff, but I'm not sure, honestly. Couldn't tell you. I think Nib is really good right now, and I'm pretty sure this deck plays into Nib like kind of hard. Maybe, I don't know if they can stop it. Infernoids, I'll stay away from it. Yeah, I haven't really heard of this deck doing anything, so yeah. Kashtira. Now, this is a deck that I think a lot of people keep having like the wrong opinions on and stuff. So I think personally, Kashtira is for sure like up here. Yeah, I would say it's up here. It's probably neck and neck with these decks. A lot of people say that Kashtira is just like a shifter deck. If you draw it, you win. If you don't draw it, it's whatever. I think that is, the furthest thing from the truth. It is not like if you open shifter, you win kind of deck. Definitely not. The amount of times that I've opened shifter playing this deck and I still ended up losing, and the amount, it's just, it is what it is with the deck, right? You can open shifter and you can win with it. You can open shifter and you can just lose with it. I've won so many games not opening shifter playing this deck. I played this deck so much. I topped with it so many times. I won with it so many times. I'm not the best with it. I'm not a god with it by all means. But one thing that's true about Kashtira is that there's only a few decks that actually like to play against this deck because it actually has a good counter to it. A few is like ninjas and like trap tricks, but it doesn't matter what deck you're playing out of like these top decks or whatnot. If you're sitting across from a Kashtira player, it is never fun, right? It's never a fun thing. It's always kind of like an edge of your seat kind of match because it can go greatly in your favor or it can go greatly in their favor. It's never a good feeling to playing against Kashtira. Just this past weekend, I took Kashtira's to the locals and I went undefeated with it. And the reason is because, again, like Kashtira is just, it's a tough deck. It's always going to be a deck that's going to stick around as long as Fenrir is at 3, Bert's at 3. The deck's going to be around, and so I think it's always going to be a pretty strong deck to play against. And yeah, I mean, from here on out, we're always going to see Kashtira at top events and and possibly even win like regionals and stuff like that. So yeah, Cash, in my opinion, is tier 2. I think Lab, in my opinion, and I know that a lot of people are gonna probably disagree with this, but I think Lab is tier 1. I think Lab is like insanely good, and I'm not talking about the Furniture Lab. I think Furniture Lab is not that great. If everyone was playing Furniture Lab, I would say that it's probably like the bottom of tier 2, but Full Trap Lab is really strong, and with skill drain being limited, that really doesn't affect it that much because you can just simply just take the two other floodgates, which is Gozen and Rivalry, and just put them in. I know some people are already doing that to begin with, but now it's like that's for sure. What you can do is you can just put those in. You can do the simultaneous equations, but if you don't want to do that, like me, I don't really find that that fun because I don't want to have to sit there and do math. So you just put in other stuff that feels like, yeah, there's so many normal trap cards out there that are just like really good that you can just switch those cards out for. And yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a good going first deck, it's a good going second deck, and a lot of times you don't really have to think. You just flip your floodgates and you're just winning at that point. Sometimes when you get your opponent stuck in the loop, it's very hard for them to get out. I mean, what could they possibly do when they're stuck top decking and every time they draw a card, you're just popping it and they just don't get anywhere? So I definitely think that Labyrinth is for sure tier 1. It only has very few matches where it's very hard for the deck to do anything, but for the most part, it's just really good. Melodious, I would say, I don't know. A lot of people put this deck like high up on their tier list and stuff like that, but to be honest with you, every time that I play against it, I have yet to lose this deck, and every time I play against it, they just don't really do anything. Like it makes a field, but like the field is never like that crazy to me. I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll just do this and I guess I win. Like, I don't know. I'm putting it here, I guess, in the rogue category. A lot of people put it in like tier 2 or tier 1. Again, like, I don't know, maybe like when I play against it, I just get like extremely lucky because they do like Pot of Desires, and when they do that, it seemed to banish like almost every one of their monsters. There was a time where I played against one Lotus. He did Pot of Desires, he banished 10, he drew 2 cards, and he literally just sat on one monster the entire game. Like he didn't summon another monster, and then after the game concluded, he was like, yeah, I banished literally every monster in my deck. I was like, oh. So yeah, I don't know, like I don't really know much about Melodious, but yeah. Mementos, I think that this is a pretty good deck. I would say it's probably oh man, this is pretty tough. It can go either or. I'm gonna put it in tier 1. If you're playing Mementos with Fiendsmith, I would say that it's tier 1. If you're just playing like pure Mementos, it's probably like tier 2-ish. Just because you don't really have that much gas, and it can be quite bricky. Yeah, I would say that Mementos, the only thing that Mementos sucks with is like it just loses to hand traps a lot. Like there's times where you open up your hand, you only have one play, and if it gets ashed, then you're just passing turn. Like you don't have like the Bone Party or the horse in your hand or anything like that. You just open up like just the witch or just the dark blade, and it gets ashed. Just like that's a hard pass, like, and it does happen. Sometimes a single imperm or maybe an effect failure would just pass your turn. So, but I think that if you're playing a Fiendsmith one, it does add a little bit more stuff that you can do. So that's the tier 1 one. But just pure Mementos, it's definitely tier 2. Now it is probably like the only deck now that you can just sit on like 5 monster negates on the field, which is insane. And the amount of times that I've done that with this deck, and that alone just won me the game, was quite often. So I would say that just because of that, it's probably tier 1 in this format for sure. Pendulums, I would stay away from them. Plantless, I would say that, I'm not gonna lie, I want to put them in tier 2, but I'm gonna put them in top of Rogue. They're probably like tier 2 for sure. I just don't know. Like many people in America, we just don't know what plants can really do. Just because we don't really see many people playing it. The last time I played against a plant deck, it cooked me, but at the same time, I just brick. So I think I lost because I just brick. But if I had like a playable hand, I think I could have won. But I don't know. Pearlies, Rogue, for sure. This day, like the this deck has fallen off, man. It had its days, but I think his days are kind of like gone pretty much. Maybe one day he'll come back, but I don't know. Rescue Ace. I would say that Rescue Ace is for sure tier 1. It's up here. It's right next to, I think, these for sure. Yeah, I mean, setting 4 off of Turbulence, it's just really good. So I mean, no one can argue that. Ritual Beast, I'm gonna put him here. I know a lot of people are saying Ritual Beast is like tier 1 or something like that. To be honest with you, I think his deck is like a hit or miss kind of thing. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I only played against it one time, and I think I just got extremely lucky because I impermed and then he just passed. So I'm guessing that was the only play he had. I don't know much about Ritual Beast, so I'm gonna just say play it safe and just say tier 2 because apparently it's really good. I mean, he got like second or something like that at Nats, so yeah, tier 2 I guess. Runic for hire. Probably like top of top of Rogue. Runic stun. It's like probably here. Maybe it's better than Ritual Beast. I'm not entirely too sure. It's I think tier 2 for sure. You know, it's Runic stun, so not much to say about that. Salad, probably Rogue. Top of Rogue, yeah, probably like top of Rogue. Salad's pretty good, in my opinion. Just that, you know, I think that now a lot of the decks are just gonna be main deck and Nib. You know, they're still gonna be main deck and Nib, Imperm and Ash. So kind of tough. Snake Eye Fiendsmith, this is for sure like tier 2. Probably like the bottom of tier 2. It's not doing that much like it used to, and Nib just kind of just outright beats it. I mean, Sprite's probably like Rogue now. I know some people are saying tier 2, but honestly, like I feel like if you played Sprite like religiously back in the day, and if you play against sprites now, like if you played sprites a lot back in the day, and then now you're not playing sprites, but you end up playing against it, it feels almost like an easy matchup because you know what their plays are. You already know that you already know when they're about to make gigantic sprite. You already know when they're about to make sprint, so you know what to hold your hand traps for if you open it, and if you do, you just win the game. So like, yeah, but I can see how some people will kind of get tripped up by this deck. Tier is probably like here in Rogue. I've been playing it a little bit this past week, but honestly, it felt good, but it just didn't feel like it was doing enough, you know. Tenpai is probably somewhere here. I mean, it did lose like 2 of its field spells, but how many times have you played against Tenpai and you still ended up losing because, and they didn't even have their field spell, right? They just beat you because they just hit Lightning Storm, Raigeki, normal summon this fucking dragon, and then search for field spell, search for quick play, and then that's just game, right? So it's probably honestly higher than Rescue Ace, maybe. It's probably like here. It is what it is. Unchained Fiendsmith. Probably Rogue. Probably like somewhere like here, maybe. Right around there. Vanquish Soul, I want to put it in Rogue because I have respect for this deck just because it tries. I think it's probably like here. Voiceless, it's probably, is it better than Cash? Maybe. I'll say it's probably like right around here. Whitewoods is actually really good. I'm gonna say Whitewoods Centurions, not Whitewoods Runic. I prefer the Centurion one because being able to go Cosmic Blazer is a lot more scary than just seeing my opponent with a Runic Fountain. So I would say that if you're playing the Centurion version, it's probably like somewhere up here. The one that I'm a little tripped up on is Voiceless, because Voiceless has its times where it's really good, but going second, the deck's just ass. But going first, the deck is like really good. I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna say Cash is a little bit better than Voiceless, just because Cash can go first or second, considering, you know, because it does have Shifter, the best hand trap. But not only that, but even if it didn't open up Shifter, depending on your build, Cash is just considered a board breaker in itself, just because of Fenrir and because it can make Zeus pretty easily. So yeah, I would say that Cash is probably better than Voiceless. Yeah, this is probably pretty solid. I'm taking a gamble here with the Ritual Beast and putting it at the top of tier 2. I could be completely wrong about that, but yeah, I think this is pretty good. Maybe Whitewoods is possibly maybe stronger than Branded a little bit. I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that Whitewoods is probably better than Branded. My buddy plays this deck a lot, and honestly, every time that he goes for the Cosmic Blaze art play, it's pretty much game over. I don't know honestly how to get rid of that goddamn card. It's so strong. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this meta. Let me know what would you change about this tier list, stuff like that. But as for right now, I think that this is pretty solid for me, from what I'm guessing is going to be the top best decks and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'll be glad to know what you guys think in the comments down below, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.